What up, guys? Robert here. Going to be doing a commentary on a match played between Juan with Numbers and Sergio. So this match was played in Paper Heroes on June 4th. This is a local tournament, and it's a 5-round tournament, and I believe this is currently round 2. So Juan with Numbers is playing Dino, and Sergio is playing True Draco Demise. So Juan is going to win the die roll, and he's going to like to go first. So from a theoretical standpoint, I would assume that Dino Zoo has a problem with normal summons, because you want to be normal summoning, for example, your Oviraptors, or perhaps sometimes your miscellaneous Sauruses. And you also want to be normal summoning your Zoo cards. Now, granted, both decks have their ways to special summon and get additional summons, or it would seem that it would be pretty bad when you have multiple normal summons in your hand, because then it's just a -1 for your turn. So that's a potential problem I can see if you don't open one of the True King cards, and it's one of the problems that Dinos themselves have, is if they're not able to open a True King card, then their plays are just kind of slow. So we'll see if that's going to be a factor in this game. So Juan elects to go for the Hammer Kong straight into Broad Bowl. So this play plays around Max C, but can get destroyed by Ghost Ogre. So it's an interesting line that he takes doing this. I would prefer to play around a card that's at 3 than at 1. But perhaps Juan can weigh in on his decision there to stack the Broad Bowl directly on top of the Hammer Kong. But Juan's going to be doing the standard Fusion Substitute combo. And it does not appear that Sergio has a Maxi to counter any of this, nor does he have the Ash Blossom to stop the search. So it looks like Juan's going to be able to get a nice Zoo setup. He's going to be able to draw 1 from the Emerald and 1 from the Fusion Substitute, giving him a +2 on his first turn. So this is going to be the last feature match that I'm going to have of the current format, and all the feature matches after this, well, after this tournament that I analyze, will be the June 12th format. So I'm not too sure if there's any cool techs that either of these players are playing. I mean, obviously True Draco Demise is a pretty tight deck. There's not really a lot of room to tech a lot of things. The space is very tight. Like, you have to max out on all the continuous spell and traps for maximum tribute fodder. You gotta put the Demise, the 3 duality, and the desires. So, not sure what you can tech in there. And then Juan is playing a very interesting build of Dino Zoo. Never seen this in action, so it's interesting to see this go on. And actually, he summons the Earth True King. So he's going to get a couple more. He's going to elect to search for the Dogoran. Interesting choice. I guess Juan must have an idea of what Sergio is playing, because if you're playing against a Zoo, I'm not sure if that's a good pick. Just picking the Dogoran. I would be more apt to pick something like, you know, an Oviraptor, so I continue my plays, or a Miscellaneousaurus, but I guess the Miscellaneousaurus wouldn't really protect anything since none of the monsters on his side of the field are dinosaurs. But it's an interesting choice to go for Dogoran. Unless you knew that you were playing against True Draco, of course. So Juan's going to end with a field of Emerald, Lithosogym, and Dredin. So pretty formidable field. Only 1 back row though. So Sergio may be able to board this board pretty easily, just with any of the spell cards. And he's going to open the 1 of Stormfort, so that's going to be great. Now, he's going to be able to get rid of the Trident right away, and there's nothing that Juan can really do. So he's setting a card first. It looks like he's going to be he's going to be tributing for a Masterpiece, tributing off the Trident. So this Masterpiece is going to be immune to monster effects and trap cards. So Sergio's gonna elect to take care of the True King. I'm not sure if that's a good idea. Well, I guess there's not really much that he can do to, or rather, there's not much that Juan can do to the Masterpiece, but I would elect to pick the Emerald just in case he has some way to answer the Masterpiece. For example, if he activates Masterpiece's effect and Juan has Ghost Ogre, then he can answer the Masterpiece, and now he's going to be leaving the Emerald on the field unless he targets the Emerald with the Masterpiece, and then now he'll be able to get a +1 on his turn. So the True King is, I guess it's pretty big, but Masterpiece gets around it, so I'm not sure. Okay, so he did have the Ghost Ogre, but he elects to use the Ghost Ogre on the diagram after Sergio resolves Demise. So yeah, now that Ghost Ogre, actually, thinking about it now, Ghost Ogre would not be able to affect the Masterpiece since it's unaffected by monsters. I completely forgot that he tributed the Trident. So actually, yeah, it's not that bad. I don't think there's any quick play spell that could answer Sergio. Oh wow, so he also plays our main deck's a D-Fissure. It's an interesting main deck choice. So that's pretty good. That's going to be pretty good against the Zodiac player, because he's going to be able to banish if, obviously, he leaves the Rapier out, which is very unlikely. If he leaves the Rapier out, that's going to get banished. All of the Xyz are going to get banished, so that he won't be able to return them, and they'll basically be out of the game forever. He won't be able to get them back with Combo, or get them back with Emerald. So D-Fissure is an excellent card. So Masterpiece is going to get tributed off by the Dogoran, and the Masterpiece is going to get banished, so that's going to be pretty good for Juan if he can answer the Dogoran. But Sergio has a lot of back row, so it might be tough for him to answer a 3k beat stick. So Juan's going to summon a Whiptail. And let's see what Sergio's going to do to respond to that. So it doesn't appear that Sergio has a response to this, and Juan's going to be able to summon a Broad Bull. He can summon a Trident to get rid of the Dogoran in case Sergio has some sort of answer and he wants to be able to chain it to the Xyz. But this looks like a pretty tough field to answer. So he's going to like to go for Tiger Mortar. Tiger Mortar is going to detach, and it's going to target, I believe, the Rapier, because I think he has a Rapier back at the deck. Interesting choice to go for the Tiger Mortar. I would think that if there's some kind of answer that he has for the Xyz, it's better to go Trident so you can at least chain the Trident effect to pop the Dogoran. Yeah, so this is what's going to happen. So then now Sergio is going to be able to pop his trap card, and the trap card is going to be able to pop his monster. So if he were to go into Trident, then he would at least be able to chain the Trident to the Dogoran, taking off the Dogoran off of Sergio's field. Now granted, Sergio should have done this on the normal summon of Whiptail and not waited, because if Juan elected to take the line of summoning the Trident, then he's going to lose the Dogoran. So both players definitely could have done a few things different here. Now Juan has no answer to his field. He already used up his normal summon, has no additional special summons, and it appears that now Sergio's just going to have a commanding lead in this game, picking up Skill Drain, and now Juan, unless he has Twin Twister or Cosmic Cyclone, he's not going to have any way to get rid of the Dogoran. And he's going to be in a pretty tough spot. So I think that's really the only thing that he could have done differently is, maybe try to tackle this field that Sergio set up a little different. Sergio has another Demise that's pretty good. He's going to draw another 3 cards. And he's going to activate Diagram. So yeah, there's really nothing he's going to be able to do here. He's going to be able to establish another Masterpiece or establish a... Oh, that's a neat interaction too. So Ghost Ogre has to get sent to the graveyard. So the D-Fissure is actually going to prevent Juan from activating Ghost Ogre, popping the Diagram. So that's going to be it for Game 1, and we're going to move on to Game 2. Alright, so on to Game 2. Sergio got the first one, and Juan is going to start us off again. So I'm unsure what these two players cited. I did not play against these players during this tournament. So it's going to be interesting to see what these players elect to side against one another.
August, my birthday, Vegas. Oh, good, good. As long as he knows.
So Juan's going to use Fossil Dig and is going to search for a baby Ceratosaurus. So he probably has a True King card and he wants to pop it. Yep, so there it is. He's in a True King and he's going to use double baby Ceratosaurus. He's going to get 2 specials from the deck. Let's see if Sergio has any response. Sergio does have an extra deck for his True Draco deck. But it's very rare that you go into any of the black cards. I believe Sergio has an extra deck here just for the deception factor. You know, the opponent could see, oh, he's not playing an extra deck, and can pretty much assume that he's playing True Draco, so he'll have an extra deck just to kind of fool them. So Juan's gonna try to search off the Oviraptor, and Sergio is going to Ash Blossom. So it's interesting that he didn't Ash Blossom the Fossil Dig for the 1-for-1. Usually what I do with the Ash Blossom is I try to use it on a card that searches like Terraforming or Fossil Dig. So it's at least a 1-for-1. So his decision to choose the to go -1 and choose the Oviraptor was very questionable. So now Juan's going to open Logia and the True King. I think Juan really needed to get that search off of the Oviraptor. But Logia is a pretty good card. The Logia is for sure going to be able to go 1-for-1 with anything that Sergio does. So if Sergio tries to summon something with the trap, he'll at least be able to negate the summon. He'll be able to see what was tributed, and he'll be able to respond accordingly in the summon window. So let's see what Sergio does to try to answer this board. So Sergio's going to elect to pick Disciples, not the Raigeki, so he must need something to tribute to summon a monster. And it appears that is what's going to happen. So he tributes Heritage and the Disciples, and basically -3s to try to get the Logia. That was a very questionable play. I don't know if I would necessarily do that. I would perhaps maybe try to force the Logia out with the Demise and then try to go and answer his field, but like just going -3 to the Logia, I don't know if that's a better play than trying to bait the Logia out with Demise and try to summon. I mean, Juan did this time have the Ash Blossom, but if you don't know that he has the Ash Blossom and you're just trying to figure out what the best line to take, I think I would have rather, set my hand, keep the Masterpiece in hand and try to activate Demise. Maybe Juan will use the Logia on it and then he can summon the Masterpiece. But definitely -3 and trying to play into the Logia is not very good. So perhaps Sergio can weigh in on why he chose to take this line, but it's a pretty questionable play. And it looks like Sergio is just going to be, or not Sergio, Juan is just going to be going off at this point. And it looks like he has enough damage to go for game. So Sergio's going to take all 3 hits. Juan's going to set a back row. And with Calamities, it seems like that's going to lock up the game if he goes into Calamities. So I see Sergio he elected to pick the spell card, or not the spell card. Yeah, the spell card instead of the Raigeki because he needed 2 to tribute off the Masterpiece in hand. And yeah, that's going to be the end of game 2. So I mean, I think that's the only thing he really could have done differently. Granted, if Juan correctly negated the Demise with the Ash Blossom and kept the Logia, then it would have been the same thing. But if he did something in a different order, maybe that would have changed the way the game played out. So, on to game 3. Alright, so, on to game 3. We've got the match currently 1-1, with Sergio starting us off in game 3. I don't know why Alexa's talking right now. Did not ask her to say anything. So, Sergio's going to start with a set 1 and pass, so that sucks. Sergio was not able to do anything with Diagram or Demise, Desires, anything like that, so that's not the most ideal opening for for True Draco Demise. And we did not actually see any side cards in game 2. So still don't know what these two players are siding. So Juan is going to summon Oviraptor, and he's going to like to choose Dogoran again in anticipation for whatever Sergio can set up. So then now, setting up Masterpiece may not necessarily be the best play to do, now that he can just get attributed off and it just becomes a -2. So Sergio is going to play Pot of Duality, and he's going to reveal Desires, Masterpiece, and a Diagram. But it may just be too late. Juan has 2 back row. He has, I think, 3 cards in hand, or 4 cards, since he searched off the Oviraptor. So it's pretty safe to say that Juan's going to have an answer to one of the things that he's going to try to do. Sergio, that is. So Sergio's going to elect to pick the Diagram, and let's see how Sergio proceeds from here.
Activate diagram.
So Sergio's going to activate Diagram, and Juan on activation is going to chain a Twin Twister. And he's going to pick the back row and the Diagram, and the back row is going to pop the Oviraptor.
So draw 1.
Not too bad. The Oviraptor is a floater, so he doesn't really lose that much advantage. And Heritage is going to be attributed off, targeting the back row, and Juan's going to have the warning, getting rid of the Ignis Heat. And that's going to be the end of Sergio's turn. So Sergio, unfortunately, did not really open well, and Juan has just another Oviraptor. So this is looking pretty bad for Sergio. I don't know if there's going to be much that he can do. He lost his Diagram, he lost his Ignis Heat. So Sergio's going to need a lot of help. And he didn't set any back row. So it's safe to say that Sergio must have some either hand trap. He would have used Astral already. Must have some hand trap, perhaps, and other monsters that he can tribute summon. So Oviraptor is going to, okay, so there's a Max C. So Oviraptor is going to search for a Miscellaneousaurus. He's going to pitch the Miscellaneousaurus, and he's going to activate Miscellaneous Engrave to special a Baby Ceratosaurus. And Sergio's going to use the Max C. So that's going to give him 1 card, and it's going to slow down Juan for sure. Now Juan may be able to go for game. Maybe. We'll see. It looks like Juan elects to not go for game, and is just going to pass it over to Sergio, only giving him 1 card. So Sergio's going to normal summon the Retaliating Sea, so interesting choice to side against Zoo players. Because most Zoo players nowadays, they're going to anticipate the Retaliating Sea, and they're going to side out their combo, especially if they're going second. So I'm not sure if Retaliating Sea is a strong choice going first, or hand traps in general going first. But looks like this Retaliating Sea is doing some work. It's getting some beat down in there. And now Sergio is going to activate Diagram. Sergio could elect to pop the Retaliating Sea and get a search off the Retaliating Sea and search for like a Flying Sea or something. I guess that's the only thing he can search. So let's see what Juan does here. Alright, so Juan is going to Twin Twister again. He's going to pitch, can't see exactly what he pitched, but he's going to pop the Diagram at the back row. And the back row doesn't chain to anything, so I guess he didn't have anything to chain it to. And he's going to summon a second Retaliating Sea, and it's going to be going into Retaliating Sea Beatdown. So Sergio's siding strategy was very interesting. I don't think Retaliating Sea is a good card to side, especially when you're going first, because then you're going to run into this exact problem. You're going to open Retaliating Sea, and it's going to be a -1 on your turn, because you can't obviously use a Retaliating Sea on your turn other than normal summoning it. So if I were to revise the strategy, it would be to be siding the Retaliating Seas when I know I'm going second, and side in hate going first, like Dimensional Barrier, or other things, or trap cards that I know that I'll be able to set up on my turn without any problems. So I think that's definitely one of the contributing factors to Sergio's loss here. I think his siding strategy could have been different. It sucks to brick, and opening hand traps going first just suck. But I don't know what else he was siding to really say anything else. So yeah, I would just maybe side hand traps going if I knew that I was going second and my opponent was going to go first. Because most players, myself included, if I have fusion substitute, I like siding that out when I'm going second, because it's going to be harder for me to resolve the combo when I'd rather do things such as summon Dryden if I need to play into back row, so I can chain it. It's kind of hard to do a +5 combo and get away with it when your opponent already established the board. So yep, that is going to complete the series. Juan's going to win 2-1, and he's going to move on to the next round.